Oh, this is a little weird.
Isn't it? That's why we practice.
Okay, so, hi, my name is Angie. I am a sophomore at UML, majoring in sociology. And so we're gonna by ourselves now, so we're not gonna introduce anyone else.
Yeah, no, go do the whole thing.
Okay.
Do the whole thing.
Well, then someone else will introduce them.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's what you meant. No. Yes, no. So don't. Yeah.
Okay. I am a project assistant in the Time on Task research project. Faculty are trying to figure out things they can do to help more students succeed in this class. Today, we're here to do focus groups with you. Focus groups are like small group interviews where we find out about your experiences and thoughts. Your professor is going to leave, and we are going to split you up into two groups.
So I have to change that.
Yeah. We'll ask you questions about the work you do outside of class. Homework, reading.
So you haven't looked up yet. I'm just pointing out.
Sorry. And writing papers. Professors should leave at this point if not already done so.
And then you can also just like wait.
Yeah.
If they don't walk out. Yeah.
There are no right or wrong answers. We want to learn more about how you experience the work you do at home and how you fit it with other responsibilities. We want to record our conversation, as I am right now, on my cell phone. The researcher, is that me? Oh no,
That's
the
me.
researcher, okay. The researcher will make a transcript of the recordings. The transcript will not include any names. We're doing several focus groups. She will analyze all the recordings and look for the patterns in what students say. This is a process called qualitative analysis. After the analysis is done, she will share the results with the faculty, including your professor. She will never share the whole transcript with your professor, so everyone will remain anonymous. The comments you make will help us develop this class and benefit future students. It is also likely to help you, because thinking about what you know, what you need to learn, and how you go about getting your work done is a good way to further your own learning. Any questions? No? Okay. So we're not gonna split the group up. Okay, so here's some snacks and water. So my phone is already recording. Let's start by going around the room. Tell me your major and why you chose it. And you do not have to choose yourself if you don't feel the need to.
So I guess I can go first. So I'm majoring in psychology while also double minoring in Spanish and public health. And as for my major, the reason why I chose it was because I always have been fascinated about like the study of human behavior, like why like us people interacted the way that they did. And so I kind of just wanted to be able to, and also like mental health was something that really interested me too, based upon like the class that I took in high school. So I was like, oh, this is something that I really want to do. So I just thought it was something that really resonated with me, and so I just did so.
Wow, that's awesome.
And I majored in history and literature, which was a department where I went to college. Because I love reading and I love literature, but I always wanted to know like why did this book get written and who read it and stuff like that.
I find that very interesting, actually. Okay. Moving on to a different question, or do you guys? Okay. We're not going to go around the room anymore. So I'll be asking questions, and if you feel the desire to share, I encourage that, please, because that's how this is going to work. Let's see. Let's start by talking about a time when the work in this class has gone well for you, or you felt motivated in this class specifically. Does anyone want to start the conversation?
So you didn't actually ask a question. You just said let's start with a time. What do you want us to do about that time? Isn't there more there?
Oh, so we switch on the main light? Are you able to see?
Oh, yeah, I'm okay.
Oh,
It's okay. Thank you. So you want me to read the entire thing? I thought, because there's like,
There's a whole bunch.
Yeah, so I didn't know if I should read them back to back though.
I think you should read a little bit more of it, cause it was
Okay.
just like, I felt like wasn't sure what to say. Did you
Okay,
feel
okay.
like that?
So-
A little bit, yes.
Okay. So think of a time when you had something for this class, and you felt motivated. Were you able to get started and focus? Can you just describe how that went for you?
So pick a class that you're taking that we haven't talked about yet and answer it for that one. I have to think about what I'm gonna talk about. What classes am I taking? Right, and so for you, like, this is okay for people to, cause they'll all be doing this internally and it'll be dead silent and you'll be like sweating bullets, but it's okay. Just in your head, you'll be going, oh, Mississippi 2, Mississippi 3, Mississippi. You're taking 6 classes, you must be able to remember what they are.
We're at that point of the semester.
I know, it's all just a blur.
Okay, I'll go with like intro to public health. So, can you restate the question?
Yes, of course.
Mhm.
A time when the work in this class has gone well for you. Think of a time when you had to do something for this class and felt motivated. You were able to get started and focus. Can you just describe how that went for you?
So there was an activity that we did in class for intro to public health where we would watch videos. Specifically, this was about kind of like health disparities for BIPOC pregnant women, and how essentially there was like increased like infant mortality,
Mortality.
yeah, thank you so much, rates, and how like external stressors and structural factors like contributed to that. And so for me, I guess it motivated me because it was something that I was like interested in, and something that, you know, I've had like family members and like friends share experiences with me about. So me getting the chance to kind of learn more about it in class and see kind of like really like the deep effects kind of motivated me to kind of like lean into it more and like be more invested in it.
Oh wow.
Mhm.
I actually did a project about that last semester as well. I feel you on that.
Serena Williams too, right? That's where my head goes, right?
And you?
Okay, so a class, I'm trying to think. So I went and did a big like research institute in the summer a few years ago. And, it was super intensive, like we were in class all day long and then we were doing our own project just basically like after dinner. So it was like 8 hours of class and then, and I was very tired, but I was really excited because like I felt like my research had kind of hit a wall and I wanted to research a different kind of thing, but I didn't know how to answer the kinds of questions that I was asking. So I was very excited that I was gonna be able to to do a project that was gonna work for me. So even though I was so tired, I would still I would sit there. They had I went and stayed at a dorm at a college, which was weird too, but also kind of nice. And you know, they had like a little lounge, and I would just go in there and like on my laptop.
Oh, wow. So would you guys say that your motivations were more personal? Like
I would definitely think so. That kind of was like the catalyst for like me wanting to be interested.
You probably shouldn't do that.
Yeah. Let's see. I feel like you guys touched like there's a whole bunch of like probing questions and you guys already kind of answered them.
Let me ask a follow-up question. So you did express that you talked about how you felt tired but still excited to be to work on the project that you were doing. Did you feel like despite feeling tired, like the excitement overpowered that?
Yeah,
And
yeah. Or like it helped me stay focused even though I was tired. Yeah, like I still did it. I remember like the feeling of at the same time, like this is so cool and I'm so tired. Like but at the same time, you know? Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Wow, that's actually cool because I feel like there's moments where I'm like I'm so tired and I'm not saying this is so cool.
Yeah.
Right.
But are there ever moments when you are, like, is there
Yeah.
anything you're studying where you do have that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't always feel like that either. Like when I'm grading papers, I don't feel like that.
Right.
Let's talk about experiences that didn't go as well. Since we've on that topic. Think about a time when you had a lot of trouble doing an assignment or homework for this class.
Mhm.
Maybe you just totally forgot, or the assignment was very, very troubling and you were tired when it started. Maybe you did get started, but you got distracted. Tell me about that. If you guys had any of those experiences in this class.
Okay, so this happened recently actually. So, research statistics, the way that it's kind of structured in terms of the assignments. So we have homework assignments, projects, and then kind of like additional, like activities that he gives us in class. And it's like, once you start on one and you don't really finish that one, he still kind of propels into like the next topic. So if I don't do that first kind of like homework assignment or project, whatever we're working on, I'll still feel like behind, moving into like the next, I'll feel behind moving into the next one. So, what was it? So, in addition to that, we had like a project based upon like a topic that we were learning, like factorial ANOVA, and I had to.
Those are good.
Those are good. Those are fun. They're so fun to do. And so I basically had to like analyze data, convert them to like 3 different graphs, split them up, and then write like a 3-paragraph summary about that whole information. While on top of that, having like another homework assignment about a new topic that we just learned in class about bivariate regression, another fun topic. So for me, I felt kind of like stuck, but also like, I guess exhausted too, because it's like I was kind of going back and forth like which one I should prioritize. And then on top of that, I also had like other work obligations, and also like family obligations that I had to take care of during that time. So it was like I felt overwhelmed to like decide which assignment I needed to take care of first.
So what do you think would be a solution to that? Do you think having a larger time frame to get those things done would be better, or having it not be as excessive, like not divided into such
I feel like both, either one would be beneficial. I would say more so for the projects, I would think, instead of it being kind of like 3 days, maybe like add a little more duration for that. Because those do tend to take longer, especially if it's like such complex, like tedious data, that like once you make like a error, like the whole thing is like changed from that point on. So I would say more time, to be honest.
And do you feel comfortable with your professor to express that to him, or her kind of thing?
No, it's okay.
Apologizing to all women statisticians.
For my professor, I guess he does offer like, like if there's any, like if there's any questions or want us to come to him. We also have like a TA too that we can write to. But I don't know. I guess sometimes it could feel like a bit intimidating to approach the professor, because he also has like the way that he structures everything is so rigorous. So I feel like, I don't know if because of that he won't be too lenient about how like the work that we do in classes.
And for that work specifically, do you think it would be easier if is there a way for that professor to be explaining it better so it's easier, or is it just a lot of work?
It's just a lot of work. And then I guess in some cases he could explain it a little differently, which he does take the time to do if we do ask questions in class. But it's more so like there's a lot of like work involved. There's like 30 questions, multi-parts, and then the extra projects on top of that is it's a bit much.
Does anyone else have any
I'm getting intimidated just listening.
Any similar experiences?
Times of not being motivated. For me, the thing that I am most demotivated about is like fixing stuff around the house. Like I hate it, and I feel like for one thing I put it off because I'm gonna hate it, and then I'm like I'm not gonna be able to find the tools. I'm gonna get hurt. I'm gonna mess it up. I'm gonna break something, and it's gonna be expensive. Like all of that is in my head. So then I don't want to start. You know, like I even just like I'm standing there looking at the tools, and I actually feel dizzy. Like I'm not gonna be like there's a screwdriver right there, and I can't even see it because I'm so like that's the kind of thing where I get into that mindset of like I just want to pretend that it's not there. But then I also worry because like my house is peeling and I feel like shame. You know, that I'm not taking care of my house that I love, and then people are looking at my like they're driving by and like what's wrong with them? Yes, right.
So usually when you get into those type of situations, are there things that help you like come out of it?
What I do is I put it on my calendar like 3 weeks ahead of time. I pick a Saturday and I put paint the garage, you know, and so it's far enough away. And then I also put it the next Saturday, so I know if I don't actually do it that Saturday, I'm gonna do it the next Saturday. And then I skip 2 more weeks and I put, did you paint the garage? And then that's actually a little like, it's anxiety reducing because I know I have a backup plan out of it, which would not work for your situation because if you put it 4 weeks ahead, right? But that's what works for that. Because it's those kinds of things. A lot of times are not actually that bad once you start doing it, but thinking about it, I just
Yeah, so the start.
But I think that system also holds you accountable when you're doing the company.
Yeah.
I like how you put the 2 weeks after that. That's something I would do. I feel like.
yeah, it works. It works well. Yeah.
Yeah, because then you check your calendar, like, what do I have? And then you'll see, like,
You're like, oh.
So how do the homework assignments in this class relate to your goals as a student?
Well, for both research styles within intro to public health, I think, especially with the career that I want to pursue, becoming a clinical psychologist, and kind of getting to work with like different communities, especially low income, being and wanting to engage in research, it's like I believe it's important for me to do the work, just so I understand it and then I know how to apply it, so I can better like be able to like make change and like make a difference in like the communities that I want to impact. So that's what.
Do you want to share before I ask a separate question?
Well, it was. If you want to ask her a follow up, that's.
I'd better lose it. Hold on. Besides like the information aspect, is there like things like that you personally feel builds your character? Is there something that the teacher does that makes you accountable or things like that?
Ooh, that's a good question. Makes me feel accountable.
Not specifically accountable, like it could be other. Yeah.
Let me see. Character. I mean, I guess for intro public health, it's more so, you know, getting to learn about kind of like the issues and things like that. It's like, I feel like it kind of promotes kind of like this idea to be just really self-aware and just like compassionate towards people. That's something that I've always wanted to continue doing, like helping others, being compassionate. So getting to engage with that work, I feel like just really expand that.
Do you have anything to share?
Well, I am motivated to take care of my house. Because, like, if you don't paint it, it starts to rot.
Right.
So I'm very motivated, and I'm also motivated, like I said, like I don't want people to judge me that my house looks good, you know. So it does meet my goals in that way. But it's still, I still have a lot of difficulty with motivation.
When are you working on assignments for this class? How do you think about the point or the purpose of the work?
Like when you have to do that ANOVA assignment.
Like, do you find it pointless or?
I mean, no. No, because I think it's like it further, like, kind of holds myself accountable, like, am I retaining the information correctly and, like, understanding what we're doing in class? And then, I say no only because, I guess part of it is no, because it's like, there's also, I feel like the things that we do in class outside of the projects on top of that already kind of like compensate for it. So I don't know.
So how do you see like the teacher assigning that project? Do you see it as like, why are we doing this? Or is it like, oh no, I get it, like,
Yeah, I know, I get it, that's it.
okay. And you for working on the house.
Working on the house, but I'm thinking, like, or like we have, so the English department has, next year we're going to do a big self-study. And also the university's doing a self-study because we have an accreditation visit, right? Like all universities have to be accredited, right? So for your degree to count, there's an organization that goes and checks on universities and makes sure that they're legit, basically, and that's accreditation. And so every 10 years, we write like a 300-page report on UMass Lowell. Here's what's going on, here are the things we're doing well, here are problems we have, and we send it to them, they read it, and then they come, like a group of people comes to campus and interviews a whole lot of people and writes a report about us, and they either accredit us or don't, and they're not gonna not accredit UMass Lowell, but they will say like, you should work on this or you should work on that. So we've spent the past 3 years prepping for this, like writing this report, and they're coming in the fall, the team is coming in the fall. So I was talking about this before, that committee, like, like on the one hand, I care what's happening to UMass Lowell, but on the other hand, to write one report about everything that's happening is so high level that like it's a little bit like blah blah blah. UMass Lowell is a research university in Gateway City, right? It doesn't really get down into the level of like the things that we all do every day. And also we're also trying to like make things look a certain way a little bit. And for me, I wanted to write the report a certain way because there's something that I think the university needs to spend money on. So I'm trying to get the report written saying, this is a really big problem. So then the chancellor will see it and be like, oh, we need to spend money on this like 5 years from now. So it's like, I care about it, but it's frustrating. It's just like so slow. And so like when then we go to, and I'm trying to get these people, like I'm trying to convince this person to agree that this paragraph can go in the report. And it's just, like I know why we have to do it and I care about it, but it's not that fun.
Do you think other people feel the same way?
Yes. I think my attitude's on the good end of like where faculty are on that, doing that kind of work, because a lot of people are like, no, I'm not doing that.
Are there other faculty that's like, that are also trying to get funding?
Yeah, everybody is.
Everybody?
Yeah, because everybody wants to do their thing, you know? Right? And everybody's like, oh no, we should spend it on this, and we should spend it on that. Like all the dean does is sit in his office all day and go, no, 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 no. That's the dean's job. We can't afford that. You know, like we wanna have a new like research lab about this, or we wanna hire a faculty member who studies that, or like whatever. And you know, we can't pay for everything.
That's right.
But it's not every 10 years.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like the census.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
How long have you been working here?
Since 2015. That seemed like a long time.
I mean, it's almost 10 years in 3 months.
Wow, that flew by. All right, what were we talking about? And then my kids, can I talk? No.
How do you remember what assignments you need to do and when you need to do them? Do you have any type of system?
Yes. So for the main part, I use a digital and then like a physical system, meaning like the physical system being like my physical agenda, kind of what I measure on my day-to-day to take care of. And then my digital, I have a Google Calendar, Time Tree. I think it's mainly those two. And I just schedule out what I have to do for the month. Meetings, appointments, all that sort of stuff.
And do you have any system?
I'm good. we had a little family crisis around our calendars this week. So I have a Google Calendar that I share with my husband and my kids.
Mhm.
Then I have an Outlook calendar that I share with the coordinator. And for some reason, my Google Calendar and my Outlook calendar will not sync. Like I reinstalled, I called IT, nothing. And so I have things in two different places, which is not good. And then I also, every day, I open up a Word document every morning and I just make a to-do list of like, so I look at my calendar and like, here are the things I'm actually gonna do, and then I try to kind of like organize around what my day actually looks like. And then I also can be like, I don't wanna do this, and I just blurt onto my,
That's cool. Was it a lot? Sometimes I have my Excel spreadsheet, but
she does, you should see it.
and like it has the dates and the times and all of that. But sometimes I do what you do, but I don't do it on a. You said you do it on a.
I just opened the Word document.
Word doc. On my computer I have sticky notes. Like
Oh, yeah, those are good.
I used to have like physical ones, but then
Mhm.
there's like a digital one.
Yeah.
And you can have it on the side of your things, and I just do that for my day or anything upcoming
Okay.
that I know I'm gonna need to like look at.
That's good.
Let's see. How do you split up your study time overall? Is there a certain class that gets more attention than others?
I would say depending on like the due dates and also how I feel like the duration of doing the work would take me, but also that I guess would also vary week to week because I also have work, other obligations like that. So, but I know based upon I would say like my Wednesdays. Yeah, not anymore.
Not anymore. You lost him?
I lost.
Oh, sad. Bye bye Wednesday.
I would say Tuesdays and Thursdays. There we go. I have more leniency towards my schedule, and I sometimes have like gaps in between, at least my first two classes of the day. So it makes it easier for me to like get some homework done and then take care of like any other due dates that I need to like really establish.
So do you prioritize them based on? So you prioritize them based on due dates. That's what you're saying.
Yes.
Okay. And you already said Tuesdays and Thursdays are good. And you work, correct?
Yes.
So this is a personal question. This is like up to you. No judgment.
Okay.
Do you prioritize work over your schoolwork? Personally, like you just feel like, yeah, that's what I should do, or no?
Let me see. I think in the beginning, I did prioritize my work a little more than I should have. To my schoolwork. But then I think as of right now, I'm in a state where I kind of want to try to make an equilibrium and not over commit too much as I did the beginning of the semester. But that's also due to like kind of like we want to save up and things like paying for school and whatnot. So that's part of it now.
Do you think that affected your schoolwork when in the beginning of the semester?
In the beginning.
And it's not if it didn't.
It did actually. Not as bad as I thought it would in the beginning. I think now that we're like kind of in the meat of the semester, it started to affect me a little bit. So I was like, okay, let me try to maneuver my hours and which days I can come in. That's okay. So yeah.
How do you split your study time?
So a real challenge for us is, for faculty is, teaching has a ton of mini deadlines, because you have to stand up in front of people, right, and you don't wanna look like an idiot. And also, if you don't grade their papers, they're gonna be mad, and so it's really easy to spend all your energy on that and then like not write your book, right? Because writing your book, you there's a lot of like, you stare out the window and you're like, what do I think? I don't know, right? And you feel like you're wasting time, and then you know that tomorrow I'm gonna have to stand up in front of people, right? And so I'll just prep a little bit more, or like, oh, this student said this thing, I could look this thing up, and you also get a lot of feedback from students, right? Whereas like I wrote an article, I sent it out in January, I haven't heard anything, right? Whereas students like smile at you or don't, like, right there. So it's very easy to get sucked into spending all of your, not that teaching is not important, it's very important to me, but so I have to make myself, like, I actually put on my calendar, right, like I put it on my calendar, and it, in fact, it came up today. I was starting to read, I found a book that's about what I'm teaching on Thursday. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna read that book, and we have it online from the library, so I'm reading it, and then my calendar popped up, right, and I'm like, oh, click, okay, you know, so that's really the challenge, but so that's what I do, I have to put it on my calendar, otherwise it just doesn't happen.
So since teaching, it's kind of different for you because teaching is your job, but also like kind
Right.
of, yeah.
It's like work in school, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how much time do you think you dedicate towards?
Well, that does vary through the semester too. Like when my students, I'm teaching, I have 15 students. They're about to write a 7 to 9 page paper. Like when they hand those in, I'm gonna have to spend a significant chunk of hours sitting there reading them. So then and that's like the only time I work. I really try not to work on the weekends. I try to like have a life. But when I'm grading papers, I'll work on the weekend. Or just reading, like I'm teaching novels, I'll do some reading on Sunday afternoon.
And I'm just curious, so like your like self-care in a way is like when you read, you just take time to yourself.
Yeah. Well, like reading the thing that I'm teaching my students is not taking time for myself, because then I'm thinking about like, what are they gonna think and what do they need to understand and how am I gonna, but just I read other stuff.
Okay. So like when you don't have the grade papers, like during the weekend, what are you doing?
What I'm doing, I walk my dog, I garden, I cook, I drive my children around and buy them things. That's not self-care, but it must be done.
Oh. I'm sorry, I'm realizing. I'm realizing like, wait, I already asked that. Like I already,
Yeah.
they already answered that.
Because you're so good at asking
you're
follow-up
so good at
questions.
following questions.
You are.
Okay. Well, another thing about time, does it vary week to week? Like,
Definitely, depending on like what pops up, and like
the amount of schoolwork
the
you have.
level of schoolwork for sure.
Yeah, or like, do I have papers to grade or not? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. When you don't do well on an out-of-class assignment for college writing one, specifically.
Or research statistics.
Yeah. Is it mostly because you got distracted, or mostly because you got stuck? Is the work difficult, or is it more like you just want to have fun?
I would say, okay, more so distracting, I guess so. Cause at least for the projects and like the write-ups and everything, I'm like, oh, this is gonna take forever, oh, I have to go through this data. So I start distracting myself with kind of like either other homework assignments, maybe I'll take care of like other things, I'll start cleaning around the dorm, for example. But like pushing me from trying, or procrastinate longer, take a longer time to do, like the at least the longer assignments, like the projects.
So you think that's like you need a mental break?
Yes, that's what that is.
Okay. I relate to that a lot. I'm actually a very great procrastinator. I am, and that's why I need my Excel spreadsheet. For you, is there?
Because I get distracted or because I get stuck?
Yeah.
Well, I think I manage distractions pretty well, and I have a beautiful office, you know, that I can shut the door, and so I have a lot of resources that a lot of undergraduates don't have, right? Like being able, like during COVID, it was horrible. I missed my office so much. So it's like I can shut everything off. And so but I do get stuck sometimes. Sometimes I can't figure stuff out.
You're not the only one.
Oh, thank you.
How important are the out-of-class assignments to this class overall? What makes them important or not important? So let's start with the beginning. How important are the out-of-class assignments to your class?
I hope this one makes sense. How do I go to my class? I mean, again, it goes back to, the material that you're being taught in class and whether or not, you're understanding the material or not. And then, what was that other question?
So how important are the out-of-class assignments to this class overall? What makes them important or not important?
Like the way I would ask that is like, if you didn't do all those little assignments and you just had an exam, do you think for one thing that would be better or worse in terms of just your life or in terms of understanding the material?
It would, if it was just like based on like exam basis, I do feel like it would make it more worse. Cause I feel like it would, what's the word? At least for me, I love to, like when I organize things, I like to break it down in a certain way. So yeah, I do see how like the projects and like the homework assignments, like it breaks it down and it has it in kind of like a sequence where it's like, it has like some sort of dates, I guess. Where if I don't have them, I guess it's like all that information is kind of like up in the air.
Mm-hmm.
You have to kind of figure something, it's more dense, it becomes more complex, and I feel like it's more room for you to be more confused, compared to having, like homework assignments and projects. Sure. So I would see that it being important in that aspect. If I'm explaining that.
Yeah, that makes sense. Makes sense. So for doing our accreditation report, yeah, it's like I see why we have to do it, and it is valuable, like we get together in these meetings and talk to each other, like, what are we doing at UMass? What are we doing well? The part of it that frustrates me is just that it tends to be kind of superficial.
Mm-hmm.
Like everyone comes to the meeting, says the same thing they always say, right? And they don't listen to each other, and we often don't have any real like, data or information. It's just like what people say in the meeting. They're like, well, my students are blah, 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 or we are the, they're just it feels mushy to me, and that is frustrating to me. Although if we've made it less mushy, then it'll be even more work, so I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't
There's
know.
that too.
Or are there any other like situations or examples about this class that you feel you need to share? Like or the desire to share?
Can I ask one more follow-up question about research stats?
Mhm.
When you talked about those assignments that started like piling up and overlapping, what did you actually do? What did you do?
What did I actually do? In terms of like.
Like you were describing one time where you were like, it was like you had the homework assignment and you had the project, and you didn't know if you should go on, like you got a little behind on the project, you didn't know if you should go on and do the next homework assignment or work on the project. What'd you do?
What did I do? I ended up focusing. I kind of went like literally back and forth. So I would try I'll try doing like 5 questions on the homework assignment, and then I'll try for the project, figure out the data and how to like graph it and have it, like export. And then back to the homework assignment where it's like back and forth, try to break it down into parts that way.
And were you happy with that as a way of doing it?
It made it less intimidating, and it kind of like, for me, like evened it out in my head, rather than like me trying to hyper focus on one and I'm like stuck and I'm like, I'm like staring at the page and not knowing what to do. So it's like, at least if I'm doing something or trying either one, it kind of helped.
Interesting.
I kind of went through that when I had COVID a couple weeks ago, and there was assignments assigned, but I was out, and then on top of that there was active assignments being assigned.
Right.
And once I returned, there's more being assigned, and now I'm behind material that they taught on class when I wasn't there. It was a lot, and then, but eventually I tried to handle it on my own. It's not working. It was not
So what'd
working.
you do?
I only emailed one of my professors because it was one class I was mainly struggling in. So I emailed her and I was like, listen, like I'm struggling because of, and I just explained to her like, this was due and then you actively assigning this on top of that, and I missed out in class, like it's just very overwhelming. And she was very understanding as a professor. I know there's not all like professors like that, yeah. But she was very understanding, and she told me that like we can sit down and we can figure out a plan, because she knows, my French teacher.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. When we met, she says she knows how much I love my list and organizing. So she said that we could sit down and like figure out a plan.
That's good. That's good. Okay, so I have another follow-up question. Have you had, like, when you say, oh, I know there are professors, is that like rumor, or have you had experiences where you asked a professor, here's my situation, I'm behind, what can I do? And they were like, absolutely no? Yeah.
I personally haven't had that, but I have had a professor where like they were difficult and I knew there's no way. There's a specific professor I had to drop the class because one, it was on Zoom because I think she had broke her arm or something, and that's fine, it's on Zoom, but she did not believe in Blackboard, so there were nothing on Blackboard, no slides, no notes, nothing. Then on top of that, she lost her slides that she presented, so she was just speaking on Zoom, and you had to like take notes somehow. And then when we would ask, or she would say something like, if someone would say, oh, you kind of go too fast, like there's no way we can write that, she'd say, I don't have a problem with repeating myself. Then once a student would ask if she would repeat herself, she would say, I only have an hour and a half, I can't continue to repeat myself every 5 minutes or every 10 minutes. And it's like, so what's the solution? Like, they're just difficult in themselves, like.
So then, because of that interaction in class, you intuited, there's no way I'm gonna ask this person.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can just tell.
Yeah.
You can just tell.
But having no notes, no slides, oh,
Nothing.
that's terrible.
Nothing.
That sounds terrible.
Not even a syllabus on Blackboard. Not even.
So wait, do you want to turn
Oh,
off your?
yeah.
Because like, it's because I have a whole lot of